Hello, Stuart here with my business tree. So we're doing another podcast on bankruptcy, and today we are here with Angela and Wright of Wright BK Law, and we're just gonna have a simple conversation to answer a couple of questions that we think some people who are being affected financially with COVID-19 would probably ask if they were on the podcast. So, hello, Angeline. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Stuart. It's good to talk to you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem, no problem. So we're gonna jump right in. My first question is, how does the process work filing a bankruptcy during COVID-19?
Yeah, that's a really good question because so many people are not really comfortable coming out and doing business as usual before the pandemic. And so the bankruptcy court has recognized that people still need relief from their financial problems during this time, and maybe even more so during this time. So the bankruptcy court has set up certain rules and procedures for operating during this pandemic to help us take people through the process of filing a bankruptcy and going through the process um, without having to show up in person anywhere. So it starts with talking to a lawyer. So what we do is we have video conferences with people about their issues. We have telephone conferences with people. We have a secure server where they can upload sensitive documents. Or, people who are old school we've actually had people mail us documents, FedEx or overnight us documents, but they can also upload them electronically. We can do a signing conference by video conference or by telephone. And then we actually file the bankruptcy case electronically from our office, so that's not a problem. And then once the bankruptcy is actually filed, there will be usually only one, sometimes two court dates that the person will have to attend. Well, now the bankruptcy court has set those up to happen electronically. So those court dates are now usually via telephone conference with the bankruptcy court. So from start to finish, someone could seek bankruptcy counsel from a lawyer and go through the entire process of a bankruptcy during the coronavirus pandemic, never having to leave your house, never having to show up anywhere in person.
Cool. You actually answered my next question, which was, do I have to physically show up somewhere? So that's good that everything can happen um, via the phone or virtually. My next question is, how long does the process take to go through a bankruptcy?
Well, we kind of divide the process up into two parts. There's the part that happens before the case is actually filed. And then there's the process once the case is filed, going through the bankruptcy case until it closes. So the first process before the case is filed, that really goes as quickly as the individual wants to proceed. We need information from them and documents from the person who's looking at filing to kind of assess the situation and then ultimately prepare the documents for them to sign so we can file them with the bankruptcy court. So the quicker we can get those documents, the quicker we can get things filed. So we have filed people within as quickly as within 24 hours from the first time they contacted us because they had all their information together and they were ready to go. Or we filed them within 24 hours because they had the bare minimum amount of information that we needed, and we could file them quickly under a special program for that as well. So that first part of the process will go as quickly as the individual or the couple wants it to go. Then the second process, which is the bankruptcy case itself, once the case is filed and going through that process of the bankruptcy case itself, it depends on the situation. But if it's a typical, say, Chapter 7 case, from start to finish, those cases usually take about 4 months, with one court date involved, a brief court date. So, which is, as we said, that's now handled telephonically. So that court date is held over the phone. So that process we can't really shorten because the bankruptcy court and bankruptcy law builds in certain time frames that have to happen. But about 4 months for a typical Chapter 7 case is how long that would take.
Okay. Once the bankruptcy is done, how long does it usually take to reestablish your credit? It's about 7 years. I've heard 7.
I'm so glad you said that because people always think that, and that's really not correct. So the myth is it will take me 7 years to recover from filing this bankruptcy. But the truth is, it'll take you maybe 2 years or less. And here's why. And here's how the myth of 7 years got started. For most of your credit reporting agencies, that the fact that you filed a bankruptcy will remain on the report for 7 to 10 years, depending on which credit report you're talking about. So because it's on the credit report, people think it's going to impact their credit for that long. But actually, bankruptcy can be a route to more quickly rebuild your credit than not filing bankruptcy. So it depends on the kind of credit you're trying to get, how quickly that can happen after a bankruptcy. But if you're looking to get credit cards, those cards are available immediately after your bankruptcy discharge, as are car loans. And in fact, I have a lot of clients who start getting advertisements to get a car before they're even out of the bankruptcy, so that once the bankruptcy case is done, they can get a car right away. The thing that can take longer is getting a mortgage on a house or refinancing a mortgage on a house. Very often, mortgage lenders want you to be 24, some of them as much as 36 months down the road from your bankruptcy before you'll get a mortgage. But most of it is about 24 months. So you can get credit and have your credit score start to rebuild quickly. Within about 24 months, your credit score should surpass what it was right before you file the bankruptcy, or excuse me, right after you file the bankruptcy. So it's not 7 years. I'm so glad you said that. So it gives us a chance to really address the myth of the 7-year impact of bankruptcy.
Cool. Well, yeah, I'm glad you cleared that up because I thought that, and it's good to know. And I know this information can definitely be of benefit to those listening. So, um, if someone wants to get in touch with you, how would they do that?
Sure. Well, our office is still operating at full scale during this pandemic, and we're happy to help people. So they can reach us by phone at 404-373-9933. They can reach us by email at info@wrightbklaw.com, or they can go on our website, wrightbklaw.com, to the Contact Us page. They can schedule on our calendar a consultation, and all initial consultations are free.
That's very good to hear. I know a lot of people will appreciate that. Well, I thank you for taking some of your time to answer some questions on bankruptcy, and we look forward to our next podcast.